the most important change is that the European Union is being given the constitutional form of a state for the first time. That will make it different from its member states. In other words, the European Union, after Lisbon, if they get it through, will be able to sign treaties in all areas of its powers with other states. Only states sign treaties with one another. I mean, states don't sign treaties with, the GAA or with individuals. States sign treaties with one another. It's a matter for states to do the sign treaties. Well, the EU will have power to sign treaties in all the areas of its powers, which shows clearly it's a state. It will be able to have its own voice at the United Nations, separate from its member states. That's not possible at the moment because the EU is its member states at present, but it will be given a different legal status. It will be given legal personality.
So, after France and the Netherlands, you have the opportunity to be the third people who, in Europe, refuses the dilution of political willpower that is handing us over to world forces and breaking one by one our vital links.
I was talking to an expert in the Commission, and I said, okay, we were talking about LNG, liquid natural gas, which they're trying to start a terminal in Kerry. And it's highly, highly dangerous because they concentrate gas by 600 times, put it in a very cold state, transport it in ships about the size of 3 football fields with an exclusion zone of 3 miles all around. So, and if anything happens to them, which occasionally has happened, you have a nuclear type explosion minus radiation. So they want to site this over in Kerry. And I said to him, when Brussels is deciding on energy, am I wrong in thinking that they'll put everything dirty and dangerous on the outside edge? In other words, my constituency. And he said, well, of course, he said, there's no question that if it's dirty and it's dangerous, they're willing to sacrifice a few farmers out at the edge. Yeah. They're going to be, it's like with your own body. If you're actually really starving, what does your body do? It protects the core. It keeps the brain going, it keeps the heart going, it protects the core. It's willing to give up, even say if you're out in the cold, it'll keep the heat to the core. It's willing to sacrifice your fingers. Yeah. It's even willing to sacrifice your legs and arms. Yeah. If those are gone. It'll protect the core. If we are going to have the energy shortages they're talking about, they're going to be protecting Frankfurt and Berlin,
the core,
and Paris, and London. They're not going to be worried about Ireland.
A quote here from the Belgian Prime Minister who said, we need a European defence, a European army, not just on paper, but a force generally capable of operating in the field, including beyond the European borders. I'm advocating a more powerful Europe. In short, I'm advocating a United States of Europe.
Yes, well, that's the current Belgian Prime Minister, Guy Verhofstadt, who is a very strong federalist, but he's only expressing what all the other main players who are pushing this thing want to bring about. It's essentially, you see, the old dream of turning Europe into a big power. France, Germany, Italy, Holland, Belgium and Britain, they were all imperial powers in their day. After World War II, when all the continental powers, France, Germany, Italy, Holland and Belgium, they were all occupied, defeated and lost their colonies, etc. in World War II. The post-war world was transformed for them, but they said, we can no longer be a big noise in the world on our own any longer. Let's try and be a big noise collectively.
Well, I don't know, but I was standing next to 2 arms traders in the airport about before Christmas on their way to Ireland. And they both had American. No, I was standing next to them pretending I wasn't listening and listening. I was glued. Yeah. And they were both Southerners, and they were flying in, and they were just who was going to meet them at the airport, and this company's really good, and what they were going to be looking at, and the one guy seemed to be, and the other guy seemed to be just, meeting him and coming from a slightly different field. And one of the things they mentioned, they said, I didn't know they had those. He said, I bet everybody has it, but they just don't say it.
Solicitor Joe Noonan of Cork, who was involved in the 1987 Crotty case, has analysed EU militarisation in the Lisbon Treaty, and he has pointed out that Ireland will not need another referendum to go to war along with the EU, as that is part of this referendum with the Mutual Defence Clause. It also mandates member states to increase their own military capabilities to make available for the EU.
Well, what's a more efficient EU? An EU which will make more laws. You might say that Adolf Hitler was very efficient. He could make a law every 5 minutes. He was a dictator.
We're not even called nations or countries anymore.
They're states.
They're states.
It gives a lot of power to a central authority that then goes out and fights things like the Iraq War. Or, I'm not sure it really serves, maybe it's good for economics, but I don't think it serves people very well, and I certainly don't think it serves the world very well. Big power blocks, and that's what we're creating.
Quote from Italian Prime Minister Giuliano Amato, later Vice President of the EU Constitutional Convention. The sovereignty lost at national level does not pass to any new subject. It is entrusted to a faceless entity, NATO, the UN, and eventually the EU. The Union is the vanguard of this changing world. It indicates a future of princes without sovereignty. The new entity is faceless, and those who are in command can neither be pinned down nor elected.